okay? You get con, okay? You get con, physical damage resistance, stuff like this. You use one of the conversion things to turn it into resilience. I know I'm going to talk about armor. Basically, faction armor, 4 pieces of heavy, medium gloves, or medium boots. One of those 2 things gives you medium roll, works with everything in the game other than sword and shield. If you're sword and shield, the shield is going to weigh you down, so you're going to go into heavy, and if you're in heavy, you might as well wear heavy gloves. But if you're not wearing a shield, this will be normal equipment weight. Right, weapons. Let's talk about the different builds. So we have full left tree on Hatchet. When do you use full left tree on Hatchet? When you want to be lazy and you don't want to respec, because this build works fine. Works fine for PvE. Works fine for PvP. Works fine for everything. It's fine. It's good. It's okay. You don't need to be the best of everything in every single situation. Who needs to be the best? Okay? You're good. You're Gucci. You don't have to respec. You know what you could do? You could get like an extra like 5% DPS, or you could kind of trick people in PvP a little bit at the cost of like 200 Azoth every time you want to swap between PvE and PvP. Okay? Now, for the masochists who said 200 Azoth every time I want to swap between PvP and PvE, sign me the fuck up, right? This is what you do, okay? You go into Rending Throw, right? This is beautiful. You go down here, and you want to take Exploitation, so you want to lose some of these things. You're doing PvE. You don't need your Feral Rush to root and immobilize things. You don't give a fuck about that. You don't give a fuck about your Feral Rush doing damage. You're Feral Rushing, literally, to pull aggro from the tank and wipe raids. That's all you're doing. That's all you want to do. You want to make sure everybody in the Expedition group hates you. You want to keep all these worthless passives. Like, look at this guy. Ripping dots? Alright, no, you kind of do... You want to keep the damage. You can remove the dots. You come down here, you get an additional 15% damage against targets with an active debuff. If it has an active debuff, you reduce its ability cooldowns by 20%. Alright, but what if they don't have an active debuff? Ah, this is the thing. You're in a PvE group. That means people are using Fire Staff. Okay? And if people use Fire Staff, they're setting the enemy on flame. You know what flame damage is? Technically, it's a debuff. So this passive right here is just plus 15% damage. Holy shit. And then every time you use a Rending Throw, you reduce the cooldown of it by 20% because you've got a fucking Fire Staff in your party because you're a PvE player. Okay? Rending Throw, very slow ability. It, use it over 8 meters away. Okay? Rend, 15%. That means the creature takes an additional 15% damage. Hold on a second. It's taking 15% extra damage, and I'm dealing 15% extra damage? Sign me the fuck up, alright? This is a tank build. It's not a damage build. But it's also, like, it's good for, like, if you want to off-tank, or you just want to be that guy in the dungeon who's like, yeah, I'm doing DPS, but let's be honest, I'm going to be hit by every single fucking mechanic, so I need as much health as a tank, and I need to be as tanky as a tank, while doing, you know, more damage than a tank, but not quite as much as a pure DPS, but I'll do more than if I was dead. This is your build, okay? Right. And then, if you want to be a super hipster, if you want to be the hipstery of hipsters, alright? You use this build, okay? We get rid of extra 10% damage after like for every single enemy within 5 meters. We don't give a fuck about that. We don't give a fuck. We don't do damage, okay? We're PvE, we're PvP hipsters, okay? We outplay people. We use weird and funky builds, okay? We take critical throw. Why? Because blocking is important. And aim throw we don't want to take, and we certainly don't want to take rending throw. Because if you can hit a guy with rending throw in PvP, then they are, like, their brain is gone. They're not going to appreciate your hipster build right here. So you take critical throw, you go down the social distancing, okay? Do you take the stay back? Slow movement speed effects increase 25% for 4 seconds? Fuck no, because you're not even trying to slow people. The only reason you take social distancing is because you use it as a pseudo dodge. It doesn't have iframes. But when people heavy attack spam you, which people do, especially if they're a rapier user, they will sit outside your range of your light attack and they will charge a heavy attack. When they do that, you hit them with a social distancing. Then you take the exploitation. Oh, but not just that. You take boot and rally. You regenerate 10 stamina every time you hit a guy with an active debuff. Where are we going to debuff them? We're going to debuff them with social distance. Then we take adrenaline rush. So when we use social distance, or we use fair rush, or we use berserk, we get 25% less stamina costs on our rolls, and we can fuck with people's minds because we're going to get one more roll than they think we're going to be able to get. And then you have 2 extra mastery points where you can put wherever the fuck you want. Honestly. Like these things are okay. Just tell all the stamina. Just tell all the stamina. Social distancing, yes, it is what it is. It got renamed that after COVID. It's whatever, right? Hatchet, low skill weapon. There's only one build, okay? Go left tree. Just don't fuck about with this. You know how terrible this build is for PvE? It's fucking horrendous. We don't have Raging Torrent. We don't have all these extra passives over here. It's terrible, okay? Never do this to yourself. Alright, weapon 2, Great Axe, right? If you are a Chad who just believes in being a good player, you do this, alright? You just do this. Execute, highly underrated. If you weapon break somebody, you can, like if you block break, you can get an execute off. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Or your money back. Every single time. It's beautiful. They can't do it. They're stunned. They can't do it. It's easy. They're stunned. They're block broken. And it goes off in time. Alright? Charge. Self-explanatory. You do charge. The aiming on auto attacks, light attacks on the Great Axe are fucking crazy, okay? They're fucking crazy. You hit somebody with a charge, then you can hit 2 left clicks on them, even if they have light roll and they roll away from you, okay? And then after your 2 auto attacks, after your charge, you charge into them, you hit them with 2 auto attacks, right? And then they get out of it after rolling like twice with light roll, and then you fucking bring them back in with the reap. You bring them back in. And then when they're brought back in, you hit it with 2 more fucking light attacks. And then you know what? They're gonna run away again, but you've got fucking bloodlust. And they're gonna realize they can't run away from you forever. So they're gonna turn around. They're gonna look at you. You're gonna hit them with 2 more goddamn auto attacks that just auto aim onto their ass. And this time, they don't want to get hit by any more damage. They're gonna block, okay? But they already rolled twice to get away from your charge and your reap. Their block's gonna get broken. And they get hit by your execute. And they die. And that's why you take all these passives, because they're like light attack boosting passives, and they do stuff to people on low health and stuff like that. I don't know. Alright. Let's say you're not a chat though. You don't know how to play Great Axe. You're new. Okay? What about PvE? You just don't use Great Axe in PvE. It fucking sucks. Right? Alright. Critical gains. I don't know. You get rid of some of these things, okay? I don't know what people do when they're bad at the game. I think they get rid of like this. And like, I don't know. Some people who are like really bad at the game, they like do this. They take gravity well. Some people who are super duper bad at the game take unyielding. Like, why would you ever take 20% fortify for PvP while you're standing in your own gravity well? Yeah, but I never pull out the 2-handed axe in PvE. Have you never noticed this, Dyad? I keep it for PvP, alright? It's there. It's on my belt. That's why I need to level it doing PvP, right? That's why it's been level 11 for like 7 fucking hours. And I just need to get it to level 12 so I can take it off. so I can take out the Fire Staff, which I actually will use in PvE. That's the idea. You can do this Gravity Well, like, some people like this ability. It's bad. It's got a 30-second cooldown. It's just not good. You can get out of it with a movement ability. If you're playing against somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, it's going to be okay. The problem is, Great Axe just doesn't have that much damage with, like, Reap and Charge, okay? So, you, like, Gravity Well them, they're stuck, they're looking at you directly in the fucking eyes. They're looking for your next move. You Reap them, they're blocking. They block the entire Reap. You charge into them, they're blocking. You break their block. You auto-attack them once, twice, and then they're blocking again. And they're looking at you like, you just used 3 abilities to hit me with 2 fucking auto-attacks? Like, fucking seriously? What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Right? So we don't do that. And then there are people who do something a little different, okay? They do this, okay? And then they go down Whirlwind. And they get rid of, like, something over here. And they pretend that Whirlwind is, like, AoE damage. And they're like, no. Look, listen, guys. It's like a Fire Staff, right? Hear me out. It's lower AoE, okay? It's lower damage, alright? Don't worry about it, though. It's melee, right? I'm actually less tanky during it as well. And, get this, right? Servers just doesn't work. Incredibly buggy skill. Doesn't hit people. And it doesn't have grit. So, you know, as long as I get in the middle of people, and they don't attack me back, and there's no CC abilities, and they're all standing directly next to each other, and the servers doesn't derp out, and we're on equal elevation, because if there's a slight, like, bend in the ground, the Whirlwind will just miss, then you can use the skill. So, genuinely, just do it like this. Learn to use Execute. It's great. It's fine. The other thing about this, like, you can't escape a Great Axe. If you ever see a guy with a Great Axe on, just, like, you're not gonna run away. Just don't bother. You've got to fight that guy. You've got to find something to do, okay? If there's 10 of them, just, like, hit escape, go game menu, hit respawn, okay? Like, at least do that. At least, like, fuck them out of their XP, because you're never getting away from a Great Axe, especially if they have a fucking Hatchet. Because the Hatchet, 20% movement speed, like 15 seconds of 20% movement speed, and then they get close enough to Great Axe, they're just going to charge in 30% movement speed, reap all the good things we talked about before, okay? This is the first way of, like, PvPing, okay? And these are PvP builds as well, we need to remember. So we're only going to talk about full con with the heavy and normal set, and we're only going to talk about using Hatchet. And, like, let's be real, we're not hipsters, we're not cool, we like to pretend we are. People ask me why I'm on this side and my Hatchet build is different than the one I recommend for people. That's because I'm a hipster, okay? I like to pretend that I'm different. I like to pretend that I'm cool enough to use bad abilities and make it work, because technically it can do more damage in the right situations, but I'm not. Nobody is, okay? Just rage and torrent people. Just left click them, okay? It's simple. And our second weapon, we want to be a musket user, okay? Look, you basically just do this. And a lot of people will say, but duelist, like, that's less damage than going in the passives over here. And it's like, yeah, but at the same time, if you're using a musket against anyone in, like, con heavy, you're worthless. You've just fucked up, okay? So the only people you're killing here are people who don't know how to play the game. Do you really need, like, 10% armor penetration when people are blocking with shields against people who don't know how to play the game? Or 10% extra damage against people with 30% life? No, you don't. It's fucking worthless. Just take this. You get your shooter stance. It's cool. It's not as good as stopping power for breaking block, but you don't know. It's fine. Shooter stance, fine. Look, musket is for killing noobs who don't know about full con Hatchet, or, like, full con builds with heavy ammo. Server's not coming back up. Yeah, probably. Alright, I'll finish these, and then we'll go. You want to be a mage? You are a mage. You are feeling it. You are feeling the fire staff, okay? You want to do PVE, right? You're going to pretend that you spam abilities, and you do all these cool things, and you do heavy attacks and stuff, but really, you're just a fucking flamethrower bitch. That's all you do, okay? You like to pretend that you're the fucking DPS carry. You're not gonna get hit by any abilities in this dungeon, but you are. So you take the fortify. Okay? You just do. You just take the fortify. Kindle, you know what? You're gonna get hit a lot, you're gonna be running from people a lot, and you're gonna want this fucking fortify. You're like, dude, 10 seconds of downtime between me doing DPS? Never fucking happening. Until you fail like 3 mechanics in a row, and then ads are on you, and you're like running around like a madman, and you want that extra 10% life, okay? Fire staff below 50% max health, damage is increased by 20%. This isn't a fucking red tier stone ring, okay? Fuck off. Like you're never staying below 50% health. Like when does that ever happen? Okay, you either have a healer and he's healing you up, or you're just gonna die. Okay, nobody's using this. Incinerate. You can take incinerate. It's fine. It's it'll heal you. It clears AoE a little bit. It's not ranged. You don't want to take that because you're a flamethrower bitch, okay? Some people think they're cool enough to take incinerate. Some of them are right, okay? You're not though, so don't take it. Heavy attacks reduce fire stuff cooldowns by 10% on hit. This seems good until you think about why are you doing a heavy attack. It's because you're out of fucking mana. Why are you out of mana? Because if you weren't out of mana, you'd be fucking flamethrowing people, okay? Flamethrower doesn't have any cooldown because you've got this passive. So this passive is worthless. So you take this passive instead. It restores mana. Beautiful. We take Meteor Shower. We go all the way. Grid into Meteor Shower. We do all hits after the initial impact. Now do 25% extra weapon damage. Because this is a lot of damage. Beautiful. And then we take Fireball. Because Fireball takes like a second to cast. It's 140%. Pops things on fire. Gives us Let It Burn. Gives us Kindle. And then we're using Bombardment. We're using Meteor Shower. We're totally going to take damage, okay? We've got our Let It Burn. What do we want? We want our Singe. When you critically hit stuff, you cause fire damage that burns them. So we proc all of our things. We proc our Kindle. We proc our Let It Burn. Then we take Runes of Helios. But we can't take Runes of Helios. Why? Because we've only taken 9 passives. We need to take more on this side of the tree, okay? Your abilities gain a 15% chance to critical strike. Wait, 15% chance to critical strike? When we critical strike, it causes burning damage? Our burning damage lasts 20% longer? Our Let It Burn gives us 10% fortifier when they're burning? We're fucking thinking right now. We're theory crafting. Look at this. This is the real thing. Runes of Helios. When do we use Runes of Helios? Well, if we're cool, if we're really good, okay? The cooldown of Meteor Shower is 18 seconds. So you Runes of Helios for a Meteor Shower, right? Which gives you the full 30% DPS buff while in your Meteor Shower. And then you Fireball. No, first of all you Fireball, which procs the Runes of Helios. Then you Meteor Shower, so you get the 30% buff on the Fireball and the Meteor Shower. Then you use your Flamethrower until your Runes of Helios is back up. And when your Runes of Helios is back up, you cancel out of your Flamethrower and you Fireball Meteor Shower again. So every 30 seconds you should be Fireball Meteor Showering, so you can proc the 30% damage on the Fireball and the Meteor Shower, okay? In reality, you're not this good. It's going to proc all the time in your Flamethrower. Don't give a fuck, alright? When it procs, try to stand still. Heavy attacks no longer consume mana. We don't need this, because they heal. It's just too much mana, and if you really needed it, you would use mana potions. Holding a Fire Staff, your critical strike damage is increased by 20%. Well, we've got extra critical strike chance, so we want the extra damage. And then, while we're above 50% mana, we deal 10% power. You know why? Because when we do our Fireball and our Meteor Strike with our Runes of Helios, we should be pretty high in mana. That's it. That's the PvE build, alright? That's it. Done. Easy collapse. Right, PvP. We can pretend that people know how to play this game, okay? And Incinerate is a bad ability because it doesn't have grit. And it's easily telegraphed. And you can see it coming from a mile away. And it even has a voice line where the guy yells, Aladdin! But people still get hit by it. And people still take damage. And when they take damage, it does a lot of damage. So in PvP, you still use Incinerate. Then we need our mana back. But hang on a second. We're PvPing. If you're planning on doing open world, you need your mana back, okay? If you're planning on doing wars and stuff where you have infinite mana potions, you take Fiery Restoration instead. And then it's PvP. We're using a Fire Staff. We want AoE, okay? We want AoE, okay? And we want the same things as before because they help each other, right? We want to be able to set people on fire, which is a debuff, which helps buff other people's weapons. If we haven't taken damage in 3 seconds, sure, why not? I think it happens when you spawn. 50% mana, why not? Yeah, fuck it. Rinse of Helios, yeah, fuck it. Heavy attacks no longer consume mana. Or do you want the 20% crit damage? You want the 20% crit damage. You got fucking mana potions. This is fine. This is your PvE build. Sorry, PvP build. You probably want to start with Fireball, Bombardment, and then head into Incinerate. And then pick up the passives over here. Alright. We're not a Fire Mage. We're an Ice Gauntlet Mage. You can take pretty much anything on these trees, okay? You're starting with the Ice Gauntlet. You go down here, okay? You take this. Why do you take this? Because you pew-pew people with your heavy attacks. Alright? If you pew-pew people with your heavy attacks, they're gonna come after you. When they come after you, you fucking Ice Storm, alright? Even if you have to Ice Storm on yourself, it doesn't do friendly damage. It's fine. You Ice Storm on yourself. What happens? You hit them with a heavy attack. They're rooted. How do you get immunity to root in this game? I mean, grit gives you immunity to all CC, right? Not roots. Roots are the best form of CC, because even if you have immunity to stuns, you don't have immunity to roots. Everyone is always rooted. And they're rooted in your Ice Storm, so they're taking extra damage, and then your attacks are doing extra damage against them. Then you can choose your second ability. You can take Ice Pylon, you can take Entombed, you can take Wind Chill, you can take Ice Spikes. If you want to be a real pro 360 player, you take Ice Spikes, and you go all the way down, and you try to one-shot people by Ice Storming them, and then Heavy Freezing them, and then Ice Spiking them, and then aiming it. Use 4 heavy, 1 med. Light is always shit, yeah. The reason, we'll get around to that in a second, okay? Yeah, Ice Spikes can one-shot people. Entombed, don't take Entombed. It gives your cooldowns off, but most of the time it gives their cooldowns off as well. Unless, you know what, actually, I keep forgetting, okay? Everybody likes to pretend that they're the 1vxer, okay? When in reality, the majority of you motherfuckers are the goddamn Zergers, okay? You always take Entombed, okay? Because when that guy who actually knows how to play the game is 1v6ing you, and he gets on you, you just pop Entombed, and you just hope to God that your goddamn team can do something about this guy who's on your ass, alright? And preferably you do this before you take pretty much lethal damage. Otherwise, Ice Shower is great. It really is. It applies rend. It's buggy as hell. You think that you're through the Ice Shower because animation, right? Like, okay, look. Ice Shower is like, it's like a little rectangle like this, okay? And you'll be standing like all the way the fuck over here, and it'll be like, well, you're in the Ice Shower radius. And you're like, why? And you're like, well, because it's cold over there. Yeah, but there's no animation, okay? You're just not in it, but apparently you are, okay? So Ice Shower, it's great. You will always catch people with a root from Ice Shower. It's fucking amazing, okay? Pylon, look, this thing is a meme, okay? Pop it down. It's hilarious. It hits people. It's a little tower. Play tower defense. Is that it? That's all the weapons? Yeah, that's all the weapons. Alright, why do you go this? Because if you don't, some motherfucker with a goddamn musket and full dex or full intelligence is just going to come over and he's just going to one-shot you. He's gonna hit you with fucking powder burn, and it's not gonna be a 9-second powder burn, okay? It's gonna be a 13-second powder burn. It's gonna do 260%. Look at my music. God damn. We're needy today, aren't we? Can't. There we go. I did it a little bit. It's going to be 260% burn damage on you, okay? And the attack is going to do 110% damage as well, and it's going to headshot, and you've got like all these multipliers on headshots, and you know, like people are going to dodge, and it's going to be a guaranteed crit as well as a headshot because they're like 300 dex, and you're just going to get one shot by powdered burn. Or they're going to hit you with power shot and then a normal attack, and you're going to die in 2 shots. Or they're going to hit you with shooter's stance, and you're going to die in 3 shots.